Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram muninam patanjalim prangjaliradatosmi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, a very good evening to all of you. We will start the session from here today. So basically today lesson is all about learning two words. We will start from a place, but still I will revise whatever we have learned so far. Great. So what we learned so far is basically, to summarize, we learned a couple of sutras, right? So, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we learned the first 10 sutra. We have the 11th sutra. We just discussed it, but we need to go that into detail, right? So, if you look at, we said right now is the time for yoga. And what is yoga? Is to control the, control or stop or bring the thoughts or bring the changes happening in your mind to a halt, right? And then we said, when the mind is still, you find the true self within, right? So when the mind is not moving like a lake, when there are no waves on the surface, you basically see the bottom of the lake, right? And then we said, otherwise what happened is the mind take the forms of the thoughts that you are getting. Then we said this type of thoughts that you are getting can be pure or impure, but these are fivefold. And these fivefolds can be taken through the right perception, misconception, a doubt, or a sleep, dreamless sleep stage, or the memory. So when we say right perception, I'll take a very popular example here. You see a rope and a snake, right? So seeing the snake as the snake is right perception, right? But then sometimes you see a rope and then you think that is a snake, is a misconception. Sometimes you see something, you don't know whether it's a rope or a snake, right? So that is doubt or imagination. Then you go to the deep sleep where the thoughts are basically summoned down, and then you have something called memory. So before we go into memory, again, right perception, right? Seeing the rope as the rope comes from direct perception, right? Or seeing the snake as the snake come from the direct perception, right? You know it's a snake. Or inference, right? So inference is what? You see a smoke and then you know that there is a fire, right? Or otherwise from sacred or spiritual texts. So they say, if you do good deeds, good things will happen to you. But if you do bad things will happen to you. If you treat your parents well, your children will treat you, right? And we believe it. We don't go to actually experiment it. Whoever has experimented has got not so much good results, right? Then on the facts, right? Then we have the misconception, meaning we see a snake or we see a rope, right? Then we think looking at a rope, oh, that's a snake, right? So that is a misconception, right? How the misconception is happening is illusory or erroneous knowledge. It's not fact, it's not real. Unreal knowledge only can take you to misconception. Then doubt or imagination happens through language. Through language, I can explain something which does not already existing, right? I say a vehicle went like a wind, right? Have you seen the wind moving, right? But you saw the vehicle moving and you compared that to vehicle went or passed by like a wind, right? So basically an image comes to your head based on those words, which is not actually real, right? Then comes the sleep stage. So Patanjali identified this also as a state of mind. Can be pure or impure, right? So where the existence is not felt. Then comes the memory. So what is memory is our first task today, right? So we go to the next sutra and it says Anubhuta Vishaya Sampramoshaha Smritihi. Smritihi is memory of something, right? And then Anubhuta, meaning something you have already experienced. Something you have already experienced. Vishaya, experienced object. Vishaya is an object. Something or some object which you have experienced. Asampramoshaha, not sampramoshaha, asampramoshaha, right? Not allowing to slip away, right? So you have seen something some time back, and still it is there in your mind, right? You have not let it go. So today I am rebuilding that whole image without any change to that incident is what you call as memory, right? So memory is something, it can be recollection of words, it can be recollection of anything, or it can be an experience, right? But the memory is basically unmodified, right? A memory cannot be modified. If you see, if you went and saw a waterfall, that whole incident happens, now comes to your mind, right? And that is not modified because you can't modify that, right? So that particular incident coming to your mind again is what you call as memory, right? So that is also a state of mind, state of these thoughts. Okay, so we will move on. Now this is a very logical way of breaking the Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, what we have learned so far. So this is an easy way for you to remember, right? Either you can keep on reading sutra to sutra to sutra, or you understand this particular sutra is talking about this. This particular group of sutra is talking about this, something like that. So that's why we always say Patanjali is such a great soul, right? He actually a great grammarian. He was able to do this, right? So first four sutras, actually he talks about what is yoga, right? He talks about yoga, and now is yoga. Now is the time for you to explore the journey of yoga. It's enough. Now let's do yoga. Second, he is saying yoga is to control or stop the wandering of mind. Third, he is saying when the mind is still, meaning controlled. Right? Today our topic is this control, how to control. Right? When the mind is controlled, you find the true self within. Who are you actually? Right? And then otherwise, if it is not controlled, you get a thought and your mind actually become that thought and start, acting after that. Right? Then in the next couple of sutras, Patanjali actually talks about from 5th sutra to 11th sutra, the 5 compulsive states of mind. Right? First of all, he talked about yoga. Then he talked about the 5 compulsive states of mind. Right? Then the beauty is, so now I have included a slide here because I'm pretty sure here most of the people must have somewhere read Patanjali Yoga Sutra or somewhere attended to a class, and you must have heard a couple of words, right? And a couple of you may be wondering why these words still he didn't utter, right? So these are those words, okay? So you can actually teach this in a very simpler way. That's how Patanjali has documented it. But sometimes it's good to bring reference from other commentators, other philosophies to explain the concept. Doesn't mean that it's part of this, but to explain it, you can bring these concepts. So in Upanishads, right? Upanishads talking about 5 parts of the Antakarana. What is Antakarana? Is basically you have your senses, you see something and you perceive something, and then you keep building your thoughts, and then you come to a conclusion, and then you action. So this whole process of this internal work or whatever happening inside your mind is what you call as Antakarana, right? So in this Antakarana, there are 4 things defined in Upanishads, right? So they say, first of all, chitta. Chitta is the storehouse of samskaras. So you do certain things, you say certain things, you think certain things. And then, so mind, word, and action. Even in Sinhala, we call it sitakaya vachane. In these 3 things, when you do certain things, you build up karma. Can be good karma, can be bad karma, you don't know, right? So that storehouse is chitta. Then buddhi is there. So buddhi is part of this antakarana. So in this whole thought processing mission, right? Buddhi is called the decision-making faculty or discriminative faculty. So buddhi is the one who makes the decision, okay, that's a lady, that's a man, that's a flower which is a rose, not a carnation. So likewise, buddhi is making these decisions or discriminating, right? And then you have something called ahamkara. No thought will happen in your mind if you don't have the I inside, right? I see a flower. The flower I see is red. The red flower that I see is a rose. The same rose I have seen when I was coming from this place to another place. So the I part, which is called the ego or which is called the ahamkara, is also part of antakarana. Then you have the manas. So manas is the one who is actually connected to all the senses. He's connected to the eye. You see there is an object, you have an eye, so you perceive it. That is the manas. So manas is keep on giving you inputs. This is like an input device. Keep on giving you inputs. And then ahankara only identify it with myself. You get the thought, attach it with myself. Then it goes to the next person, buddhi, and say, okay, this I like, this I don't like. And then chitta will say, because I like this, I want to do this. I want to hit this person. Now you have created the karma. So these are the 4 things involved in this whole mind work. Right? I hope you understood it. Right? But the good news is you don't have to remember this. Right? Then in the Sankhya philosophy, right, don't write down, no point, right? Don't write down, you pay full attention, right? Pay full attention, eyes has to be on the screen, ears has to be on the speakers, and you are still, right? So in the Samkhya philosophy, what happens is they talk about 3 parts. So they also define what is Antakarana, but they talk about only 3 things. So what are those 3 things? They only talk about buddhi, ahamkara, manas. Chitta is not there, right? So chitta is not there. So it says, the commentators say, chitta is also maybe considered. So chitta is also considered as part of buddhi in Sankhya philosophy, right? So we know what is a buddhi, which is the discriminative or the decision-making faculty, right? Ahamkara is self. Manas is the one who gather things in, right? Right now, you see the screen, you see Amal moving, all these things you are gathering through manas. And then ahamkara say, I see, right? I want to see, because there are so many things that you are seeing right now, but you see only the screen right now because you have identified I with what you see. So you see very focused the screen. Then you know, okay, this is Amal who is speaking right now. This is that slide in his computer which he is showing. That is buddhi. This is Amal, not Kamal. That identification is the buddhi's work, right? And then if you are thinking, no, I don't understand what he's telling, I don't want to listen to him, what is he talking? Now you are creating karma inside, which goes to the storehouse of samskaras. Okay, so according to Samkhya philosophy, this particular storehouse is also within the buddhi faculty. So that is another school of thought, right? So they are using these three words, right? Then comes Patanjali. So Patanjali don't talk about buddhi, right? So the Upanishads talked about chitta, Sankhya dropped chitta, right? And then Patanjali, buddhi word is not mentioned, right? He only refer chitta, right? So the chitta mentioned by Patanjali may include the functions of buddhi, ahamkara, manas all together. So Patanjali has made the life actually easier. He have put everything into one bucket and call it one name, right? So he only talk about chitta. Then in the Western philosophy, now even right now, whatever written in Sanskritam, right? What we are learning, the way how we are learning it is through English. So English, the words, now for Sanskritam, now see, even if you take Antakara, you have 4 parts. Those 4 parts have 4 specific names. Those specific names have a specific meaning. But in English philosophy, you have one word for most of the things, right? So chitta is mind. So then they say, okay, whatever involved with the mind, let's call it mind stuff or the mind field. So chitta, manas, buddhi, ahamkara, all these things we call as mind stuff or mind field. So that's why when I teach you guys, I always refer either chitta or mind. So these 2 words I will use interchangeably, right? So again, don't worry about what is chitta, buddhi, ahankara, manas. Don't worry about those things, right? So basically, you have your sense organs. Sense organs perceive something. For that perceiving, there is a mind getting involved, and then what it is and what not it is, there is a determinative faculty. And why that determinative faculty comes? Because you have identified that whatever you have perceived with yourself, I, and then you will do certain karmas, you will think certain things, you will say certain things, and then that will go to the stock of your samskaras, right? So for us, Patanjali made the life very easier. Chitta. Chitta is everything related to mind. But when we go on, he will break things into different things. But at the moment, in the first chapter, chitta is enough. Okay? So I hope you understood so far. Right. Good. So from here, now let's move on to our sutras again. Right. So we said, now we first of all gave an idea about what is yoga. Then we said, what are the compulsive states? So we are understood what are the 5 compulsive states. Now we are going back again. So these are the compulsive states. So mind takes the form of these compulsive states, right? Then again reverse. So when the mind doesn't get these compulsive states, you say that we find our true self there, right? Okay, right? So we find our true self when the mind is not wandering around, okay? Then doing that job is what you call as yoga, right? So we are going back. Now, next thing is, so 3rd sutra, when the mind is still, you find the true self within, which is what we said, tada drishtu swarupe avasthanam, right? How to reach there? How to reach to the place where the thoughts are ceased, where we find our true self within, right? That's where you have the something called control, right? So you need to control your mind in such a way that you control these compulsive states in your mind, right? The lake is there, waves are not there. Through the water from the top, now you see the bottom gems. So basically the gem is your real self. But as far as the water is wavy and the mud is mixed with the waves, you don't see the true self inside, right? So look at this picture, right? Now this is a picture of a yogi meditating inside. So if you observe very carefully, there's heavy rain, right? Heavy rain doesn't affect him because of the strong roof that he has, maybe made out of palmyra leaf, right? So because of the strong roof, you don't get the water. So you don't get disturbed from the water from the top. Because of the walls, you don't get disturbed from your surrounding. Definitely when there is a rain, there is a wind, right? So when there is a wind, obviously things go haywire, right? But there is a lamp inside his small shack, right? The lamp is still. The lamp is not moving, right? Lamp is still there. So the wind is not affecting him. Then there is a little flood around. Because he is elevated from the ground, his small place is elevated from the ground, he is not affected by the water, the flood, right? And then there is a woman, there is a beautiful young woman walking in front of the door, right? So that is Kama, Raga, right? Kama Raga is walking in front of you, still you are not affected. How? Because you have control of the mind, right? So this is what you call as a yogi. You don't get affected from external things. You don't get affected from people. You don't get affected from up, side, behind, front, on the ground, right? So when you have full control of your mind, right? When your mind is put up with a very good solid roof, with a solid walls, and then elevated from the normal people's common ground, right? Doesn't matter when the karma walks in front of you, you are not affected, right? So how we go there is our today's discussion, right? Okay, so always when your mind is disturbed, take this picture to your mind. Why is your mind disturbed? Because there is a hole in your roof. Your walls are not strong enough. You have got to the common ground of the common man, right? When you are with the common ground of the common man, you get disturbed, right? And if the mind is not properly well trained, when the karma walks in front of you, you get distracted, right? Make sure whatever happens, the lamp inside doesn't move, right? Good. So we will move on. So these are the two words that we are going to learn today. So the 12th sutra says how to control your mind is through abhyasa vairagya bhyam tan nirodha. Abhyasa vairagya bhyam tan nirodha. That's how you chant abhyasa vairagya bhyam tan nirodha. Right? Abhyasa is the repeated practice. Vairagyam is freedom from desires and detachment. It's easy to explain it saying abhyasa is repeated practice. You can do the practice repeatedly. Vairagya is stay away from desires, right? But the meaning we can explain even for a day. One word, if you take abhyasa, you can explain for a day without completing the same sentence twice, right? That sort of a deep meaning abhyasa is having. In Sinhala also, abhyasa is exercise, continuously exercise. Vairagya bhyam is, so basically the word is vairagya, but since there are two words, the bhyam comes from the Sanskrit grammar, right? Tan nirodha, restraining of the mind. They are restrained. They are. So when you say tan nirodha, they are restrained. They are is the movement of the mind comes from repeated practice and the freedom of desires or detachment. Okay, so restraining of mind movement can be achieved through continuous practice and by detaching the desires, right? Always remember these two words. So in a very surface level example, I would say you do a yoga asana. Each and every one of you here must have at least tried a yoga asana in your life, right? So when you do a yoga asana, what happens is, if you don't practice it continuously, so you practice it, then you achieve the yoga asana. But if you don't continuously practice, you lose it again, right? Also, in order to achieve the asana, you have to keep on practicing, right? Now, what is detachment? Detachment is not that, I'm detached of everything. I'm not, attached with anything. I don't care about all these things. So detachment is not the Vairagya. The word Vairagya means not being lethargic, not liking anything, being on a side. We don't care about anything. I am like enough with everything. That is not detachment. That is attachment. You are making it detachment with your words, right? That is not detachment, right? Detachment is going beyond raga. You like something, you experience it. Now you move on. That is Vairagya, right? So you eat something today, you don't want to go to the same restaurant because every day 6 p.m. you get the craving, right? So you eat something, eat it when you eat it. Done. Full stop. Then you move on. But the meaning is far more deeper than this, right? So let's go into details. So the next two sutras actually explain the concept of abhyasa, right? So next to sutra 13 and 14 talk to you about what is abhyasa. Tatra sthitau yatnaha abhyasa. Tatra sthitau yatnaha abhyasa. Tatra, under these circumstances, sthitau, as regards steadiness. Yatnaha, continuous effort, is what you call as practice, right? So you have to practice in such a way. So look at the final line. It says, Abhyasaha is an effort to continue to be that state of control in mind. What is that? Meaning the state where you keep your thoughts or the waves minimum. For you to go to that yoga, yoga is the state where you keep your thought waves minimum, controlled, down, suppressed, not suppressed, bringing to a halt, right? For you to go to that state, you have to put an effort continuously to go there, right? So continuous is the word in this sutra, right? Steady, sthitau, steady, yatna, continuous. Steady practice continuously. Simple yoga asana, if you take, practice whatever the asana that you are practicing 1 hour every day. It can't be 1 hour a week. Today I practice, tomorrow I can't, I will sleep, day after I will practice. After that, for another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I won't practice. And whenever the time permits, I will practice, right? So this whole science, what we are going to discuss, is going to be your life. So what is more important to you? Is it the stillness in your mind or running all around the place, right? So based on that priority, you have to abhyasa, right? If you want to like go around the place, anyway, we do that abhyasa every day, day in, day out, right? But if you want to still the thought flow and everything, then you have to find that particular thing and do the abhyasa like that, right? Continuous, steady effort is what we call as abhyasa. 14th sutra. Sa tu dirgha kala nairamtarya satkara asevitaha drudha bhumihi. Sa tu dirgha kala. Sinhala people should be understanding this sutra like this, right? Sa tu, that you might not understand. Dirgha kala. Kala is time. Dirgha, long time, right? Long time. Dirgha kala. Nairamtarya. What is antarya? Antarya is a gap. Nairamtarya, without a gap, right? Without stopping for a dirgha kala, you need to satkara asevitaha drudabhumihi. What is satkara? For satkara is well performed. Asevitaha is practice with great enthusiasm. Don't practice because somebody else is doing it. Yoga is not a fashion, right? Mind control is not a fashion, right? Just because somebody else is chanting, you don't have to chant unless your mind is talking to you and saying, do the chanting, right? Just because somebody else is doing that, don't do it. Just because somebody else is doing the puja, you don't have to do it, right? So that enthusiasm has to come within you. A yoga asana will not work for you if you don't have the enthusiasm. If your thing is like, I want to do that hard asana somehow so that I'll take a picture and then I'm all done. So I upload that to my internet and then I'm all done, right? That is not enthusiasm. That is stupidity, right? So with enthusiasm, asevitaha, when you do it like that for a long time, so sa tu, this meaning the previous, right? This, what did we say this as? We have to do a steady, continuous practice. So the steady, continuous practice, and when you do it for a long time without interruption, when you well perform it with enthusiasm, that becomes a druda bhumihi. What is bhumihi? Is a land, right? Druda bhumihi is a solid land. Druda is solid, firm land, right? You can't build a house on a paddy field, right? You can't build a house where you can't put a foundation, right? You put a stone and the stone disappears in the mud, right? You can't build a house like that. Even if somebody want to build a house on a paddy field, first of all, they make it a druda bhumi, right? Solid land. Once the solid land is there, only you can actually do whatever it is. So the practice that you do continuously and steadily for a long time without interrupting, with dedication and with enthusiasm, when you do practice like that only, it creates a solid ground. So your mind becomes a solid ground, or your asana practice will become solid when you do practice continuously without stopping, enthusiasm, and for a long time, then it becomes a solid land. So that's why sometimes you try to do an asana for 6 months, right? But what happens is once you perform the asana at least once, right, then it will be there. If you do it with enthusiasm, right? If you don't do it with enthusiasm, with dedication, with continuous practice for a long time, you will do the asana today, tomorrow you will again fall down, right? So the meaning says it is strengthened by the prolonged, for a long time, uninterrupted, well-performed application of action. What is it? The restraining of fluctuations in mind can be strengthened by prolonged, uninterrupted, well-performed application of action. Right? Then, now that is all about the abhyasa. Right? So what is abhyasa? Long time, earnestness, right? You have the need to do it, need to achieve it, attention, application, and devotion. If you have not heard, there is a mathematician called Ramanuja, right? So there is a beautiful movie about Ramanuja, right? So the way how he went, he was not given the correct place in the society, but he kept on working, and then how he reached is actually the long time, earnest attention, application, and devotion to your work. Your asana, if you do a Padmasana, you have to have a devotion to your Padmasana. Right? Without a devotion to your Padmasana, if you do it for fashion, it will not stay there for a long time. So that particular way of abhyasa, a repeated practice, will give you a druda bhumi, which is a firm yogic foundation. Right? Up to here, are we clear? Yeah, good. Okay. So don't worry, we will discuss these things, right? Don't worry, we will again and again every day. Don't worry, I will repeat these things before we start the session, right? Then we are moving to the next sutra, 15th sutra, right? Drishta anushravika vishaya vitrushnasya vashikara sanya vairagyam. Drishta. Drishta is visible. We say in a yoga asana, where is the drishti? Drishti is your eye focus. Where is it? Right? Drishta. Anushravika. So who are the, now normally in even in Pali or in Sanskrit, I am not too sure in Tamil. Shravaka, Shravika are the ones who are listening. Anushravika, right? Vishaya, which is a matter. Vitrushnasya, freedom from desire. Trishna, Trishna is, or Trushnava, we call in Sinhala, is desire. Vitrushna, freedom from desire, right? It is not the opposite of desire, no desire. It's not no desire, it's freedom beyond desire. Vashikara Sanya, right? Vashikara Sanya is bringing under control to the consciousness, right? Is what you call as Vairagyam. So we learned what is Abhyasa. For a prolonged, long time, uninterrupted, with devotion, dedication, you continuously do the practice is what you call as Abhyasa. Vairagya is from what you hear or heard, or from what you saw or not seen. Whatever it is, the Trishna that you are going beyond that Trishna and be free from that Trishna is what you call as Vairagya. It is a very conscious effort. So renunciation is the practice of detachment from desires seen, unseen, heard, unheard. Many things you hear, you switch on the news, you hear a lot of things, right? But on the same time, without even hearing, you perceive certain things. Without seeing, your thoughts are, making the work for you, right? So without any of those things, getting free from desires is what you call as Vairagya. Okay, don't worry about it. It's a very deep concept, but it's okay, right? We will repeat this at least another 20 to 50 times, right? Don't worry, 20 to 30 times, yeah. And don't worry about it. Okay. Now let's move on to the second verse on Vairagya, right? Don't write down. Take it to your mind inside, right? Don't write down. Tat param purusha khyate Purushakyate, Tat Param Purushakyate, Guna Vaitrishnam, right? So, Tat Param, that highest, Purusha. Purusha is the Sanskrit word for yourself. Purusha, the true self within, right? So, that Purusha, that higher state of Purusha can be achieved through going beyond the gunas of this world, the qualities of this world. What are the qualities of this world? There are three types of qualities in this world. Rajas guna, tamas guna, and sattva guna. Now you may be wondering, we don't understand what he's telling. Don't worry about it, right? So this whole world around you, every single thing what you see has a particular guna which is impacting you, a quality which is impacting you. This you call as either tamo guna, tamas, lethargy kind of, or rajas guna, very active, right? You have extra energy, or sattva guna, the balanced state. So going beyond those is what you call as vairagya. Don't worry, I have a nice example for this, right? Don't worry. So if you go beyond this with practice, abhyasa is the way how you can actually bring your mind stuff or mind field to a halt. Okay, right. So what are these gunas? So Rajas gunas are very active, intense, and very aggressive. So these people are very action-oriented people, right? So prone to argument, right? So always whenever someone says something, you are already ready to attack back, right? So it's processing that hard without even thinking what would be the repercussions. Even you will start talking back. So those are Rajasic people. That is not a bad quality, right? Rajasic is not a bad quality, right? So sometimes when something bad is happening, you acting fast and then uh, saving that moment is a good thing, right? So that activeness actually contributes to a better ending, right? So that is because of Rajas guna. Then the Tamo guna. Tamo guna people are very lethargic, slow, and very negative, destructive. So you are taking somebody on a trip. Always a person is like, no, I can't go. I can't, I'm tired, my legs are not working, this is not my capacity, and all these kind of things. So these are a little bit of tamasic nature, right? Very negative and destructive, right? So these people are like tamas like minded people are prone to disengaging from situations and becoming lazy. So when something is happening, right, maybe in your office or somewhere, better, like stay out, I can't be engaged. It's not because that, um, you are, with awareness, you are disengaging. So there is an argument going on. With awareness, you disengaging, and because of tamoguna, you disengaging is two different things. Tamoguna is because of your laziness, you disengage, right? Then the sattva guna, which is the most balanced and pure type of guna. When a person finds a sense of truth and light in their life, they are more open and creating sattvic qualities in their mind, right? So many people might perpetuate sattvic qualities in any given moment, but truly sattvic people are particularly rare, right? So sattvic people are the ones, you go to a place, person don't go after food, looking for shelter, looking for all these comforts. Whatever I have, I'm happy with it. Fine, let's go, continue. Let's go to the next. Let's go to the next. So here I don't want to stay. I am not demanding things and all. No, not like that, right? So these are the three qualities. Don't worry. Just remember there is a Rajasic quality, Tamasic quality, and a Sattvic quality. Okay. So then moving from here, Chitta Bhumis are there. So Krishna Dvaipayana or Vyasa, right? The compiler of Vedas. So he has commented on something, and he has given these types of moods or types of chitta bhumis, right? The states of mind, and then so it is being actually used here to explain the Patanjali Yoga Sutra just as a example to you. This is not included in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, right? So that's why it's from the Vyasa's commentary. Okay, so Mudha. So Mudha is a one chitta bhumi where this person is very forgetful, blinded, and possessed with sleep factor. So always, even anything, you just do the bare minimum and stay there, and you forget. Always you forget things. Keep on forgetting, right? Kshipta is restless person. So this person never find a freedom, never being happy with anything, restless, shipta. Vikshipta oscillates between the opposites. Should I do this? Should I do that? Always, can't make a decision. Always to make a decision, you have to have somebody to come and support you or tell, this is what you should do. Kshipta. Ekagra is one-pointed. So this person, even if he go to the highest point of the country, lowest point of the country, wherever he goes, his mind is on about one thing. Always his mind is thinking about one thing. Let's say Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Keep on thinking about that. So just like if you are a Buddhist, the Buddha Guna, right? The Buddha's qualities. So if you are a Hindu, you have a particular deity. Always, whatever happens, okay, your qualities I'm keep on reminding, right? Then Niruddha. Niruddha is completely restrained. So you are actually merged with the nature. This is the oneness mind, right? So yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha, niruddha. So this is the state which we are talking about. So these are different chitta bhumi. So different people you can identify like this. So when there are restless people, there are always can't make a decision. Should I do this? Should I do that? If I do this, I'm worried from that moment I chose this option because I'm thinking, no, I should have got that other option, right? Never settles. Then restless, always mind is keep continuing exercise. And then the other one is mood people, like a Saturday morning, you don't wake up to do yoga, right? Because you are lazy and sleep is more important, right? Then remember always, oh, I have become a mood person, right? So what sort of a person you want to be, right? Okay, it's not what you want to be, it's what you are, right? Sorry to say this, right? But these are the different chitta bhumis. Okay, then moving, I'm just kidding, right? Moving on, again, Vairagya. So in Vairagya, again, this is not something Patanjali has given. So different commentary I have put here to explain you, right? Don't remember or try to remember any of these words, right? Yat manana, disengaging the senses from enjoying from their objects. Now let's take a nice example, okay? So do we accept sometimes coffee, cigarette, alcohol is not good for health? Yeah. If you say no, it's important for health, so that's fine, right? But if you say it's not important, that's also fine, right? So let's say I want to get rid of drinking coffee because it has certain chemicals, so it gives me gastritis, it gives me this, that, and the other, headaches and everything. So I want to get rid of from drinking coffee. So first of all, what I do is I disengage the senses from enjoying their objects. So I will say, okay, coffee, I don't enjoy this anymore. I don't like the coffee taste anymore, right? So I leave the coffee away, right? Then vyaktireka, meaning keep away from the desire. So if I don't want to drink coffee and all, now I will not go to a coffee house, right? I will not bring coffee home to keep in my cupboards and everything because I want to get out from that desire. Then ekendriya. But still, even though I want to get out from coffee, even though I don't buy coffee, even though I don't go to a coffee shop, when a beautiful cappuccino smell is coming early in the morning to you, to your nose, now the desires are actually again shaking. Yeah, so now your thing is, okay, I want to get rid of coffee, but little bit is still there. Feeble desires remain in the mind. Little desires. Some people say they want to become vegetarian. But when you go to a hotel, when you are walking through the buffet, you can't keep on, keep your eye off from the buffet. Yeah, maybe today only today, only for today, right? Then again from tomorrow 8 a.m. I'm a vegetarian, right? Until I become another non-vegetarian, I'm a vegetarian, right? So those are feeble desires, right? Feeble desires, like there are small fireballs under the ashes, right? There is no desire. Everything is burned, but the fire is under the ashes, right? Still a little feeble need is there. Then comes the vasikara. All senses have been subjugated, right? Meaning, no, it's gone. I have gone beyond coffee, right? Then you come to Paravairagya, meaning you bring the best coffee in the world and keep it in front of my nose. I am in a state where is there a coffee or is there not a coffee? Doesn't matter. Is there a coffee? Not coffee. So right now there's no coffee in front of me. So I'm in a particular state. Now a coffee comes and keep in front of me. Still I'm on the same state. I am not disturbed at all. So that is what you call as Vairagya. Vairagya is not you hate coffee. Vairagya is not you putting a rule that I will not drink coffee. No, Vairagya is taking the desire out. You have raga. Vairagya is you have the raga and you actually move forward from there. Right? You have seen the emptiness of this raga. Right? You have seen the emptiness and then you have moved forward. Right? So that is what you call as Vairagya. So when I say disidentification, normally what happens is when you see a coffee, then you identify yourself, okay, I like coffee, right? So I need a coffee per day, right? Then you say, okay, fine, I don't need coffee. I will not drink. I have stopped drinking coffee. So there are some people who say, I used to drink, now I have stopped drinking, right? So I don't take alcohol anymore, right? But if there is a social gathering only just to be with the society, I'll drink a little bit. Right? That is not Vairagya. Vairagya is even if they come and pour liquor on your head, doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference to you because you have moved on. Right? So that is what you call as Vairagya. Okay. Then there is a nice bird here. Right? For this bird to reach its objective of yoga, the two wings are Abhyasa and Vairagya. You need to be free. You need to go beyond your desires and you need to keep exercising continuously with great dedication, prolonged without any interruption to your exercises. Keep moving and have a devotion to your exercise. That plus going beyond desire only can take you to yoga. Right? So that is those are the two words that we learned today. Abhyasa, Vairagya. Abhyasa, Vairagya, Abhyam, Tan Nirodha. For you to go to the Nirodha state, becoming a Muda to a Shipta to a Vikshipta and then Ekagra to Nirodha, for you to go there, the wings, that your wings are Abhyasa and Vairagya. Definitely with one wing you can't fly. Right? With Vairagya only, you can't fly. You need to practice it, right? See that picture that I showed you, the monk or whoever the yogi is actually practicing in the normal nature. So they say normally there are certain monks who go to the forest and then do the meditation, right? But they say, no, don't go to the forest. Stay with the people and you do your practice. Then only you will be with the real desires and everything, and then you overcome. Otherwise, you go to the forest, you overcome your desires, or you at least feel like you overcome your desires because you don't see them. Right? But at the moment you see them, you're all gone. Zero, square one again. So be with the common people, but stay a little, couple of steps up from the common people. Put a very solid wall around your mind where you don't get the disturbances. Put a proper roof on top of it so that you don't get affected from the rain. And let the karma walk in front of you, no problem. Because you have properly preserved your mind in Niruddha. Right? So I think this is enough for today, right? So we will stop from here. So again, we talked about what is yoga, what are the compulsive states. Now we talked about how to control, Sutra 12 to 16. Next week, our work is we need to understand what are the states of Samadhi. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.